Today is Wednesday, December 23rd, 2015, and the title of this rant will be, What Will It Take to Win in 2016? As we're coming up to the end of this year, there are a couple winning issues that are going in the Democrats' favor, and then there are a lot of things that may not go in the Democrats' favor. And I'm talking about the national election, not necessarily local elections. But right now, we know that a majority of Americans are in line with the Democrats in that, number one, they want to increase the minimum wage. Number two, they want to increase taxes on the wealthy. Number three, they believe in global climate change and that we need to change things to try and take care of that. Number four, they believe in gay marriage and that that is the law of the land right now, and states should not be trying to change that. Number five, they want to have comprehensive immigration reform that includes a pathway to citizenship, because that will be the only way that there will ever be closure on this, so to speak. And then a sixth thing that I'd like to bring up because of a recent Supreme Court decision is that we should have gun safety laws. We should be enacting more gun safety laws, and if we cannot do it on the federal level, then we can do it on the state level. A strong majority of Americans are for that, for this upcoming election. They are winners for the Democrats all the way around. The Democrats need, especially state elections, local elections, city elections, township elections, parish elections. They need to go on these populist issues, because we saw what happened in 2010 and 2014 when it appeared that the Democrats were not running as being a Democrat. They were running on being not as bad a Republican or whatever it was that they were running on. They need to run on a populist issue. Now, at the same time, as the election is coming up, there's a lot of things that can affect the election outside of those social issues. Number one, what the candidates are and what the dynamics will be between those two candidates. Obviously, right now, we possibly are looking at Hillary and Donald Trump. But hey, we might have Sanders and Marco Rubio. Each time there's a different candidate, there would be a different set of dynamics. So the dynamics can be very, very, if it's Marco Rubio, a young guy against a real old guy. So a lot of that type of, he's Catholic against a Jewish guy. Those are just some examples of the dynamics that come into play. Also, the presidential approval rating. Right now, OB is about 45%. So as long as he can keep that in that range, it might go up a little bit as we get sentimental towards the end of his term, that maybe his approval ratings will go up, and that will help the Democratic candidate. The second thing that could be, the third thing on that would be the economy, which also could be tied with Obama's approval ratings. If the economy continues to move up a little bit, then that would improve Obama's ratings, and it would also be helpful to the Democrats. Now remember, a lot of times people make their decisions about 6 months beforehand. So if the economy keeps coming up, that would be good for the Democrats. We'll have to see if that continues. Remember, just the other day they had the housing report that indicated that existing family homes went down by 10% in November. Next thing would be terrorism. How much could the Republicans exploit an act of terrorism? Whether or not it was something that could have possibly been stopped or not, depending on where it was in the world. Was it in the United States? How many were killed? Et cetera, et cetera. So terrorism could play a big factor in the election. As I mentioned, the social issues. The next thing, could a VP candidate be a factor? Let's just take John Kasich of Ohio. Ohio is one of the swing states. That possibly could be important in terms of a vice presidential candidate and their value to the ticket. Swing states. Ohio is a swing state. Pennsylvania is a swing state. Florida is a swing state. Michigan's been a swing state. What was it? Wisconsin? I don't know. There's a couple other swing states that were in there. And what is happening in those specific swing states that may or may not, in terms of Florida. If you're running on Social Security, that's a good thing. All right, may not be quite as good in Michigan, may not be quite as good as in Ohio. So the dynamics of the election in terms of what the candidates' views are in the swing states. And remember, there are fewer and fewer swing states right now. I believe there's only about 8 to 10. And remember, the Senate could be affected quite a bit by the swing states also. And is there a scandal? Obama has been pretty good at scandals. I mean, you could say that the Secret Service was a scandal. You could say, and any of the Republicans could say anything was a scandal based on Obama. But there really hasn't been huge scandals in this Obama administration. And of course, the hugest factor of it all is that when there is a big turnout, and Obama got big turnouts in 2008 and 2012, even though it was greater in 2008. How much would a woman, meaning if Hillary was on the ticket, how much would that affect the turnout, especially in the swing states in the national election? If Carson was on the ticket, would that affect the turnout? So a lot of things can go on between now and then. But right now, we're looking at the social issues, very positive towards the Democrats. But there's a whole host of things. And remember, in a lot of those swing states, if there's any Republican control of anything, we know that they have tried to suppress the vote in many of those states. And we'll have to see if that will continue. Also, how strong will that get out the vote campaign be? Because obviously, it didn't work very well for the Democrats in 2010 and 2014. And of course, Obama's not on the ticket in 2016. And he got a lot of a turnout in 2008 and 2012. Will the candidate for the Democrats be able to bring out the same number of voters that would affect it? Also, one last thing would be the Latino vote. As the Latino vote, they say that the Republicans need approximately 45% of the Republican vote. The Republicans need 45% of the Latino vote. And if that's the case, then the Republicans will win. The last couple of elections, the Latino vote, I believe, was over 70% Democratic. So these are all important things that we need to be looking at as we go into the election of 2016.